Call this special session to order. Need a motion to approve the agenda? Cool.
Second.
Hammock, all in favor? Passes 5-0.
I will need a motion to approve the agenda as well.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda as submitted.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried.
Presentations and discussions. By the way.
Good afternoon, and thank you all for being here today. We appreciate the Board of Commissioners, the Board of Education, for taking the time to meet jointly. We discuss a proposed intergovernmental agreement that involves two important public properties: Board of Education owned property, Board of Commissioners civic center. In the simplest terms, the proposed intergovernmental agreement would exchange unused Board of Education property for the county-owned civic center. In 2007, Board of Education purchased approximately 42.7 acres just north of Bishop along Highway 441. Since that time, property has not been occupied or developed by the school system. In 1992, the Board of Education and the Board of Commissioners entered into a memorandum of understanding related to the construction and use of the Civic Center. The facility is located on approximately 3.64 acres and includes a theater, banquet hall, and related support areas. Over the years, the Civic Center has served a variety of purposes for both the community and the schools. The school system is the primary user of the Civic Center and is located in front of the Oconee County High School on Hog Mountain Road. The Civic Center is used for theatrical productions, parent and student meetings, award ceremonies, future educator ceremonies, district-wide strategic planning, performances, Teacher of the Year banquets, and would continue to be used for voting. Again, the Board of Education property, 42.7 acres, will be exchanged for the Civic Center effective September 1st. It borders Highway 441 and Union Church Road. It also resides near residential properties, which will have a landscape buffer the Board of Commissioners elects to develop land under the current proposal. That's an awesome drone shot of the land. Everybody knows. Hey! All right, the aerial photography picture is of the Board of Education land near Bishop. I'd like to pause and thank the Civic Center and county government team for their collaboration, communication, and stewardship during this process. It's evident that both organizations are passionate about serving and prioritizing the needs of the community. The superintendent's recommendation to approve the intergovernmental agreement between the Board of Education and the Board of Commissioners. This brings us to some frequently asked questions that we have received from the community. For that, I will invite Ms. Whitaker, Mr. Adams, to answer some frequently asked questions. So our first question is, when will Oconee County Schools students use the theater and for what purpose?
The Civic Center's proximity to the high school allows students to access the facility throughout the school day, making it a true extension of the school's instructional campus rather than simply a venue for performances and special events. As the school continues to expand its fine arts programming, the auditorium will serve as a dedicated daily instructional space where theater classes can meet in a professional, quality performance environment. The facility will also enhance learning opportunities across multiple content areas, clubs, and provide flexible spaces that support instructional activities not easily accommodated in traditional classrooms. Student organizations, leadership groups, and academic teams will also be able to use the facility for meetings, competitions, and collaborative learning experiences. The Civic Center will also expand opportunities for elementary and middle school students by providing a venue for programs and performances that often exceed the capacity of individual school facilities. Students will have access to a professional quality stage, an auditorium for events such as the District Literacy Fair, theater productions, chorus concert, talent showcases, and other celebrations of learning.
Ms. Whitaker, how will this create more equity across all schools in the district?
Expanding instructional access to the Civic Center also creates greater parity between the district's two high schools by providing Oconee County High School students with learning, rehearsal, and performance spaces comparable to those available at North Oconee High School. Elementary and middle schools will have access to the professional venue for theater productions, chorus concerts, student showcases, and other events, providing opportunities comparable to those available to schools in the North Oconee feeder pattern through their use of the North Oconee High School auditorium.
So another frequently asked question we have is, how will the facilities use process work for public rentals? The school system currently uses Facilitron to manage facility rentals across the district. Under the proposed agreement, the Civic Center would remain available for rentals in both the banquet hall and theater. Reservations that have already been received would continue to be honored. Future reservations will be managed through Facilitron, with a la carte services continuing to be available, including lighting, sound, table setup and takedown, linens, custodial services, and catering. Dr. Yancey could not be with us this afternoon. His office manages Facilitron and district facility use. As part of the transition, current Civic Center reservations will be imported into Facilitron before new reservations are open for the Civic Center. Next up, I'll ask Mr. Adams to come up. Will the school system have any regulations for public rental? Our goal is to add in the Civic Center to our current facilities use process. This includes a continued hierarchy of Oconee County schools having first priority, followed by the Board of Commissioners, then the general public. And now it's really Mr. Adams' turn. Mr. Adams, how will this transfer benefit Oconee County taxpayers?
Well, currently, Oconee County Schools uses 50%, will pay 50% of the Civic Center maintenance and capital costs, and we have to use general fund dollars to pay those costs. General fund dollars are primarily supported by your tax dollars that we get from the state for your use for that facility that we can use to pay. Because the district doesn't own the facility, these costs can't be paid with eSPOS dollars. That's one of the big things we look forward to, is ownership would allow those eligible costs and capital improvements to be funded through the eSPOS. And eSPOS is funded by 1% sales tax paid on eligible goods throughout Oconee County. And the good part about that is that's not paid just by locals, that's paid by anybody who visits Oconee County as well. So those two things bring that together to pay that eSPOS that we get to collect. And that's the do it. And then one other thing for us in the future, and we talked about parity and equity, we would not have to build another auditorium for Oconee County as we have at North Oconee. So that would save those future eSPOS dollars on construction costs to build a new auditorium.
That concludes our presentation. Is there any questions?
I want to run through a few things as well from the county side. One thing I understand is school system policies will apply, so no alcohol, no firearms is kind of the big change, those two. Priority of usage for education, board of commissioners, and community, that's exactly the same as we have set up now, so no change there. Board of commissioner usage includes, not limited to, our election process, 4A, Friends of the Library, Region 10 EMS, Sheriff's Office training, State of the County, and our Oconee Fire Rescue Banquet and employee Christmas lunch. Board of Commissioners does not pay a rental fee, but we will pay any direct costs that come in with that. We've created a list of items we're taking from the Civic Center. That's been reviewed by the school system. We're all good there. This is a 5-year agreement, and then it's going to be wrapped up into our school use agreement that we have for all schools. Termination agreement does not affect elections, and we have no definite plans for the 42 acres at this point. We're holding it for a future park, and maybe just we're taking over EMS, or maybe an EMS station at that end there to help serve the south end. So,
Public communications, Ms. Moore.
Afternoon. We have one Oconee County resident signed up to address the boards this afternoon. And before we invite Mr. Webb up to speak, I would like to share that school board policies BCBI and BCBIR 1 state that only Oconee County residents or school system employees may address the board, and that members of the public shall conduct themselves in a respectful manner that is not disruptive to the conduct of the board's business. The boards allow 3 minutes for those who sign up prior to the meeting. Please state your name, address, and topic. The boards request that you refrain from making any disparaging remarks against school system and county personnel. Generally, there will be no response, comments, or questions posted by citizens at this meeting. All comments and questions will be taken under advisement by the boards. However, any board member shall be free to respond and make public comments if he or she elects to do so. To any citizen wishing to provide documents for board members, please submit them to myself prior to addressing the boards. And please remain at the podium during your public comment time. We will welcome Mr. John Webb to the podium.
Well, this is not my first rodeo. Dressed in different entities. So I won't take a lot of time to do a lot of small talk. I don't have but 3 minutes. Sometimes they hold it. So I wanted to first, and some of it's been answered. One thing I was a little bit concerned about in 1992 and 3, under the leadership of Wendell Dawson and some other really forward-thinking people, this Civic Center came into being. And we were really proud of this in Oconee County because our neighbors to the north thought they were hotshots. And we had a Civic Center before they did. We had a real nice one before they even thought about what they were going to do. So I have a lot of pride in that Civic Center, and so it concerned me that the Board of Education may consider changing the name from Oconee County Civic Center to something else. That was a concern to me because it's always been the Oconee County Civic Center. And I think it should remain the Oconee County Civic Center and maybe add some additional wording for the school district. The second thing I think has been answered by our chairman, Mr. Daniel, is that I'm so glad that he didn't box us in, saying that this acreage that the county would have in the swamp would not be just dedicated to a park. Now, before all the park advocates get all up in arms, I'm not against that. I think we got a great park that's being utilized now. It's been in a splendid stage. It's the Betty and Wendell Dawson Park, now Rocky Branch. And that's, I think it's going to be a great facility. So I'm so glad to hear him say that maybe this might be used, part of this acreage, for maybe the EMS that the county is taking over. I think that would be a good maybe a proposal, a good idea for that acreage there, for part of it. Because I know Oconee County is very popular. I've seen it grow from about 5,000 to 6,000 people when I came here in 1970 to what it is today. So we have continued to attract people. All right, the other thing that I wanted to find out, this is addressed in both the board and both the Board of Education and the Board of Commissioners. Is each entity getting the true value for what they're giving up? Is the board getting enough in that acreage to compensate us for the giving up of the Civic Center? And is the Board of Education getting what they feel like is a fair value for giving up that property for the acquisition completely of the Oconee County Civic Center? Those were my concerns because I've been a citizen of this county since 1970. I want to be as long as I can, and I probably will die being a citizen of Oconee County. So thank you very much.
Thanks, Will. I'll address a couple of those questions. We would definitely feel like we're getting a value, and I feel like it's a fair value for each party that's involved in it. I think it's a good trade-off either way. That space is something that we'll utilize more often, having it as an instructional extension space. And also, the historical significance of some of the civic center, the nameplates on the back of the chairs, the plaque on the cornerstone, we'll maintain those. And if for some reason any maintenance needs to be done to remove those, we'll make sure to preserve those as well. We won't do away with
That's good. So we feel like it's equitable on our end as well.
So you feel good about
Yes, sir. Sorry, Chuck.
Always a pleasure to see you.
it.
I'm on, as he brought up that question, the historical thing, I was elected to the school board in '92, so my name's on that plaque. Not that I did a whole bunch in a short period of time, but nonetheless, my name's on it. But I would say at the time, that Civic Center really showed to our neighbors to the north, because they were fighting over every kind of little kind of crap. And in Oconee County, they didn't do it. They just stuck to the business. They built what they could afford. They worked a deal with the school system because the property was school system property. County didn't have anything, so it seemed like it was a good trade. And over the years, it really has shown its importance. Now, John will tell you, I was arguing to build another, and if I lasted long on the county commission, I might would do that, because we have changed. We have changed big time. But my love for kids, I don't think there's a better use than seeing young folks get up on the stage and they're learning how to deal with the audience. And I think it's to me, even though I'm a commissioner, it's still a good deal, because kids benefit. That's number one. Kids benefit. Now I'll move to that property out in the county. And I'm gonna say so. We've had our arguments about different things, roads, stuff like that. But I think there's a great respect for the families and the children. They come first. First. Me, I'll get there when I get there, but we got to get the kids there first. And so I see that the school system growing. They're offering more things than they did back in '92 and '93. Soccer was co-ed. I don't know how many of you knew that, but it was co-ed. And so things have changed. And I see the school system, because I've got two grandkids, one at Rocky Branch and one at Malcolm Bridge. The requirements of each school is growing. You got flag football, girls, boys, all this stuff is changing, lacrosse. So I see that if we don't move to have property that can be used for practice, we're desperate. We're desperate for practice fields. We're desperate for gymnasium space. And so I think, with the Wendell Dawson, Betty Dawson Park, we're gonna get closer. But we got to have something now. So when John came to me and said, "What do you think?" Trade it. We need the dirt, because we're having kids having to go find space in Bexar County, and we got to get better than that. And I think we're heading in that direction. So from an old timer that was there when they were, trying to get that project done, I think the kids win both ways. That's the only, to be honest with you, that's the only people I care about. Kids come first. Taxpayers, no, you don't want to hear me say this. They're going to come first. And, that's what we do that very well. So that's my take on this. I'm glad that we were able to do it. So I don't see a problem. I won't say this. I don't look at the value The dollar, because you're not gonna sell it anyway. It's on your property. You're not gonna sell that. And we tend to keep park property. So I look at the value more than just a dollar value that the assessment office puts on it. That's not a big deal to me. So I appreciate it and commend the Board of Education and Superintendent and my board that I sit with. I think we did a good job.
Mr. Chairman, I'll hate to follow Chuck when he's so eloquent in his comments. But I would like to ask a question that maybe aligns with what Mr. Webb was concerned about, because what I understand is this is an opportunity for the school system to improve their fine arts program. And if we were not to do this, I'm just curious, had the school system put a price tag on what it would take to build a fine arts facility such as what we have now? Has there been a price tag? Because Mr. Webb, listen, if we do this, this might save you some tax money.
Amen.
So has it?
Dr. White, what's the cost of
We haven't put a price on it. We haven't found out the solicitor price for a new auditorium.
you have an estimate, Dr. Butler?
I mean, I would guess 15 million.
How much?
I would guess 15 million to build a whole new facility like the Civic Center.
15?
15,
15,
at
okay.
least. I mean, minimum.
Mr. Webb, you hear that?
I did.
Okay. Just wanted Mr. Webb to hear that. Thank you.
Any other comments?
I want to say something real quick about the history piece, because I was there. I remember being there, like many of you, the day they dedicated the Civic Center, and so many people from the community went out because it was such a special day for our community, as you said. I remember the lady talking about how she picked the colors. Very 90s. It was like peach and green. Now she'd have some explaining to do. You know,
I like that.
how'd you pick those colors? But I think we have a great opportunity, Mr. Webb and community, to really educate the future of our community. When they go through there, they're going to see those names. They're going to see the nameplate with Chuck's name, and probably Mark's name, and John's name as well. The people who came before us and really laid that groundwork for the community we have, I think it could be a great educational tool for all the students that are going to go through there in the future. So that's pretty exciting preservation point, I believe.
I'm really excited about this. Also, Mr. Webb, thinking about what, from a dollars and cents standpoint, what's the impact and potential impact this can make to the taxpayers of the county. First and foremost, every asset the school system has taxpayers, the same as with the commission. Everything that we have is the taxpayers. So I think this collaboration is really good to be able to align assets to the highest and best use for each of the groups. Looking at our own side with Civic Center, we're also able to start earning dollars from the state for future modifications and renovations of that building, something we previously would not be able to do because it was under a joint authority. I'm not going to get the right terminology, but because it was a jointly owned asset, we could not, which meant that burden was bared more heavily by the citizens and taxpayers in the county versus the state as a whole. So I think this is a really great path, a really good way to help reduce budget items, all while getting back to what Chuck said, allowing us to, and Chuck, correct me if I misspeak a little bit here, but being able to do what's best for the kids.
Dr. Butler, action items?
Thank you, Mr. Ransom. Board members. It is the superintendent's recommendation that the Board of Education approve the intergovernmental agreement regarding the Oconee County Civic Center. The agreement provides the transfer of approximately 42.7 acres on Union Church Road just north of Bishop along U.S. Highway 441 and the Oconee County Civic Center located at approximately 2661 Hog Mountain Road in Watkinsville, Georgia. The Civic Center transfer includes the banquet room, theaters, support spaces, common areas, parking areas, and all other spaces associated with the facility. The agreement also establishes updated facility use and scheduling procedures, replacing the existing MOU that has been in place since 1992.
Any motion?
So moved.
Mr. Cool? Second. Chairman, all in favor? Passes 5-0.
We have a motion on the intergovernmental agreement.
Make a motion to approve the MOU that we have before us concerning the Oconee County Civic Center and the vacant property out off of 41.
Motion second, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
No further business? We're adjourned.